welcome in once again, everybody, to In the Work podcast. My name is Matt Bresee with Action Coach Erie. I'm the host of the show, and I'm excited about today's guest. She is Jennie Hagerty, Executive Director with the Mercy Center for Women here in Northwest Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania. Jennie, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
So, Jennie, sometimes I like to start with the person, but in this case, I want to start with the organization because in some of the information you sent over in our, kind of pre-interview prep here, it could just sort of it resonated through about kind of the pride I think in the organization and the work that you're doing. So, if we could start for particularly for the listeners that are not familiar with the work of the Mercy Center for Women, let's start right there, and please tell us about. The organization, the mission, and the work that you and your team are doing.
Sure. So, the Mercy Center for Women is a sponsored ministry of the Sisters of Mercy. We began our journey on this campus in 1994, housing women and children fleeing domestic violence, abuse, and homelessness. They are able to stay with us for 1 year, and we provide them with a full package as far as them regaining their life in society, whether it's through parenting, education, job readiness, learning how to advocate for themselves, financial literacy, the list goes on. And we house about 34 to 36 women and children at this particular building. And then we have our Mercy Anchor building, which was the former Holy Rosary School building, which we opened those doors March 2023. That facility houses men, women, and children with the wraparound services that they need. I'll give you one example. We have Second Harvest Food Bank as a partner, and we feed over 2,000 neighbors in our community. And we house 34 to 36 men, women, and children. And then in the fall of 2025, we opened Brandy's Corner, which is the former Holy Rosary Rectory that sits on the corner of 27th and East Avenue. And we're doing housing for 12 to 15 women and children. It's transitional, and we're also complementing that with prison reentry.
Wow. There's a lot right there. You did a great job of summarizing that, but incredible in terms of the reach. We're gonna come back to some of that. And now I want to kind of just talk about your journey a little bit. 9 years with Mercy Center for Women. Just tell us a little bit about you, your journey, what's brought you to Mercy Center for Women, and then just a little kind of summary of what the last 9 years have meant for you.
Sure. So my journey is very simple. Erie native all my life. I am a mother of four, grandmother of eight, married to Chris Hagerty, and obviously love the Erie community. I have been a fundraiser since 2005, so I'm very passionate about raising funding for our community. I originally was with the Diocese of Erie, fundraising for St. Jude, the Apostle Church, along with Our Lady's Christian School, and then St. Peter's Cathedral. And leading into my passion, which truly is the Mercy Center for Women, they say that you should be able to set your career once you get out of college. Well, my passion, my ministry, my love for what I do did not start until my journey began here at Mercy Center for Women. Because this truly is a ministry, a passion, and a calling. And I love the work that my team and I are able to do. I love the partnerships. I love watching mothers reunite with their children. I think it's just critically important for our community to work together and not in silos, just to make sure that the individuals on the streets have a place that they can call home. I, Homelessness is a critical concern of our community, along with opiate overdose, but domestic violence too. And I think we downplay that because most people believe it's physical abuse, but spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, domestic violence can just start from anywhere. A companion, even a friendship. And to watch it unravel is very difficult, and we need the programs like Mercy Center for Women to help the families, the women walk through that journey.
Amazing. So you mentioned the community partnerships. Tell us a little bit about, kind of what the success that you found in that type of work, in that collaboration. Like you said, you're doing such critical, important work. How are you partnering with other organizations to ultimately, like you said, solve so many of these challenges for the community?
So, Matt, when we developed and rehabbed the former Holy Rosary School building into the Mercy Anchor Community Center, we can't begin to understand if it doesn't affect your life, homelessness, addiction, or domestic violence. So that question was proposed to the clients that we serve. And they shared with us, here's what we need. And plain and simple, Mercy Center is great at housing. We have wonderful case management. We have the behavioral health that we need, financial literacy, but it's the partnerships. We are not primary care physicians, right? So to engage and embrace the partnership with AHN Highmark, providing primary care. Sensory integration for our children is something that we don't understand, but Sarah Reed Children's Center comes here and partners with us. We talked about the Second Harvest Food Bank, Crime Victim Center. They might not be housing, but they have all they need through their case management team with any type of a crisis. So we partner well with them. NAMI, Erie Family Center, Erie Dawn. We are fortunate to have Dress for Success Erie, which suits our clients. It's a job readiness program that suits our clients, but prepares them for their resumes and their job interviews. So again, collaboratively, we just feel it's important. It's about the clients we serve. And in order for them to really become a well-rounded individual again on their journey, we need those partnerships. They're instrumental to our work.
Well, and you talk about how the collaboration ultimately is for the benefit of the community, benefit of those that you serve. Because this talks about people like yourself in these leadership positions, the mindset of looking at kind of evaluating what it is that the Mercy Center for Women does really well, how you can best use your resources to serve, and then the mindset shift of, hey, who can we find now to best complement the things that maybe we don't do as well? I mean, was there some conscious effort that takes place there in terms of being really kind of keeping the focus of the mission to ultimately serve the clients in the best way possible?
Absolutely. Again, it's the development of the client and the children, because sometimes the clients, we forget the trauma that the children experience when a mother makes a choice of addiction, right, over being a mom, or when a mom stays in an abusive relationship because it's a roof over her head and the head over roof over the head of her children. So being very careful in partnerships is critically important, and aligning those partnerships so that it's an easy transition for our clients from one place to next. And I think it's transportation is a huge hiccup, right? Childcare and transportation. So when NAMI or when the Crime Victim Center, Erie Family Center, they drive to us, they drive to our campus. Even the Children's Museum, which I love, they'll bring their resource bus so the kids can enjoy. That's what it's about. That's what makes Erie who we are, by knowing what we all do well and how can we partner better and collaborate better so that the people that really need these services are the true benefactors of what we're able to do. Or excuse me, the true beneficiaries of what we are able to do.
Got it. So with that, where you currently are right now, what are your biggest challenges?
So the biggest challenges right now is housing. We have anywhere on any given month, 70 to 90 women looking for housing. So that's our wait list. We receive anywhere from 70 to 120 phone calls, emails, knocks on the doors, or referrals monthly from women, men, and children. Again, looking for housing. Each one of our campus facilities, I'm at max. I have no room at the inn. So, with that being said, we are in partnership now with the Triangle of Hope, which is a partnership with Build and the Hammett Health Foundation, along with the St. Paul Neighborhood Center and the Mazzini Foundation, working, hand in hand with Boo Haggerty and Tim Nicastro to afford more housing and also the social services that will integrate into what we will be doing. So our goal is for the schoolhouse apartments to be able to house up to 25 people to begin with. And then the Sacred Heart building, which the Mercy Center for Women purchased, will probably be able to help between 30 and 40 individuals. And then the St. Paul Neighborhood Center will be culinary and they will feed and they will nourish those individuals in need of those services with the social service hub. You have the St. Paul's Free Clinic over there. So they are really diagramming on what their future is going to be, but they'll have a big marketplace again in partnership with Second Harvest Food Bank to allow people to shop with dignity, right? We do that, right? Every time we walk into a Tops, a Giant Eagle, a Bellows, a Wegmans, we're able to push our cart, get what we want. There's stipulations put on individuals who go into food pantries. So I think that'll be something new and exciting for our neighbors to be able to do.
Couple of things to unpack there. I mean, for one, making use of the Sacred Heart building and putting it to such good use to help that property. But two, you had mentioned too, talk about kind of the growth that you've seen in the time that you've been there, going from one dwelling to now three. But I guess as you're also saying, yes, you've seen great growth in terms of the clients you've been able to serve, but you also mentioned the growing list and the needs and that being a challenge.
Right. It's very frightening, to be perfectly honest with
Mm.
you, to know that our Erie County community and city have that much need is very alarming. And I think what's troubling for me and a lot of my colleagues is we go home at night, we're boots on the ground, right? So you go home at night and your work never leaves you. You might get an email, you may get a phone call, and you have a mother now who's 8 months pregnant on the street with her two babies, and where does she go? And this is just one of numerous phone calls or emails or outreaches that the Mercy Center receives. It is heightened, it is concerning drug overdose. Again, in the years 23 and 24, Erie County led the state of Pennsylvania in overdoses. How does that happen? And how do we work together and our elected officials, whether it's the state representatives or the senator or our mayor and county executive, we need to start to pull together those resources with the people who are actually doing the work so that we can share and advocate for those voices that are living in our shelters. I think those are critical concerns that need to be addressed.
With that in mind, kind of turning it to your leadership on a daily, weekly basis for you and your team, because there's so much work being done, there's more work to be done. What's your approach that way with you and your team? Because again, it can seem daunting, given the task ahead of you.
So let me share with you this morning when I walked into work. My work weeks are usually anywhere from like 50 to 60 hours a week, right? There's no end. So when you come in on a Monday morning and we have such a beautiful campus, and you know that you're walking to the front door and the clients have cut the grass, they have edged the front yard, they have watered the flowers. You walk into the building and it's absolutely beautiful because they deep cleaned over the weekend. They take pride in their home. They have chores that they are responsible for. And the reason for that, Matt, is because when they move forward into their own dwelling, we're not with them to make a bed, to cook a meal, to cut their grass, and to do their laundry. So we provide them with those life skills again. And then to be able to walk across the parking lot and see Brandy's Corner, which is the former Holy Rosary Rectory. It's mulched, it's edged, the flowers look great. And that's because the parish of Holy Rosary gifted that to the Mercy Center as a surprise. So, you're already walking in on a Monday, the sun's shining. We're going to get 70 degrees here in Erie today. And knowing the appreciation and gratitude of our clients, um, to have someplace to live, knowing fully well many of their friends and family members are in emergency shelters or they're out on the streets, but they have a dwelling. And then to see the community that surrounds us here pitching in and giving joy to our families and to our staff, that there's a lot to be said about that. It really warms your heart.
I can imagine. So therefore, when it comes to kind of focus on the mission, what does that look like then from like your leadership perspective and your team in terms of either annually or how frequently you're kind of looking and saying, hey, let's just make sure that we stay focused kind of on our North Star, our mission. What does that look like from a leadership perspective for you and your team?
It's challenging because there's so much that needs to be done in our community, right? And we want to be good partners and good friends to the community. But now, we take trafficking into consideration. That's not an unknown anymore in Erie. How do we become better partners, knowing that we can house, right? But we might not have the expertise to understand what goes on behind a victim. How do you stay in your, how do you stay in your lane? Is very critical. What's difficult is you want to help so many people because when they're outreaching to you and they've already called maybe two or three other housing programs and they're full, how do you work together to get that done? That's our biggest challenge. And I'm blessed because my case management team goes above and beyond to help many, many wonderful people in this community and they bring those partnerships in. So, for example, if a client might not have housing at SafeNet, someone from SafeNet might call over and say, "We can provide, some of the services that they need. Can you house them?" That's just important that those relationships stay viable and that we keep moving forward on those challenges because you could get lost in helping hundreds of people daily, and we know what we're able to do. And again, I think having the triangle of hope, or maybe even the good work that Infinite Erie is trying to do with their housing perspective, might bring light at the end of the tunnel for people that we are serving.
What's to come? Like what's next for Mercy Center?
Well, what's next for Mercy Center is our Sacred Heart Project. Okay, so we need to raise $7.5 million. The good news, Matt, is we have raised $5.7 million, which really warms our heart. And we've only been fundraising for 6 to 7 months. We have completed phase one of the building. Now our our electrical drawings sit at BIU, which is our next step. We'll be able to begin hopefully again in June and put the HVAC in. So that's phase two. And then we head into phase three, which will be the actual detail of the apartments and the conference room and our food pantry that we will have there. So we just keep moving ahead. Funding, as you know, is always one of the top three concerns. And what's difficult for Erie County is when you have 1,700 nonprofits, right? And over 500 participating in Erie Gives, all with incredible missions. How do donors determine how those dollars are going to be spent, or how are they going to allocate what's passionate in their heart to very, if not all, well-deserving nonprofits? So again, working hand in hand, how we can get a better um, collaboration moving forward in our community, and maybe how can some of our housing programs, how can we reduce the redundancy and work better under maybe one umbrella, or maybe we work better under six umbrellas and ease the stress off of the funders in our community.
Such a great point is you're right. So many deserving uh, community organizations, nonprofits. Our region is just rich, also with people that open their hearts and their wallets that want to support. So kudos to you for, you said a little over 5 million has been raised for that $7 million goal.
We're at $5.7 million dollars. And so we have some grants that we have put in for consideration. I'm very passionate about fundraising, so I'm on the phone quite a bit or meeting with people quite a bit. But of course, you never stop at 7.5 because there's always a hiccup, right, with construction. So we'll keep moving forward until we hit that goal and then we surpass that goal.
Fantastic. No, not a doubt in my mind that you'll get there. I do want to pivot a little bit and just and talk a little bit more about your leadership, because one of the things also that jumped out to me when you provided me some of your bio information, you didn't talk a lot about yourself, so I sense that humility that's
I typically don't.
coming through the screen. Because the first thing you said, and I quote, "My passion is to my community." However, I did a little of my own research, and this I know because I also saw in person you receive at least a couple of these awards. The 2024 CEO of the Year, given by the Nonprofit Awards, Nonprofit Excellence Awards. You were named the 2025 Louis Tulio Community Service Award recipient by the Erie Chamber and Growth Partnership. And then I also saw you receive in 2025 the Athena Erie Leadership Award. So what we often see is someone like yourself, Jennie, who's accomplished so much, and the I'm gonna bet that the accolades are nice, but as you mentioned before, when you found your passion in the work that you're doing, that's not why you do the work that you do. I guess for our audience here, I would love to hear from you. Um, the work leading up to all those accolades, the recognition, um, what do you say to the unseen work? You mentioned the 50, 60 hours plus that you're giving towards your current organization and just the years, I'm sure, of the other work that went into kind of leading you to where you are today and some of the recognition you've received the last couple of years. Well deserved, rightfully so, for just the work that you continue to do from your leadership position.
Well, thank you for the question. Yes, and I am very humble. Will also share with you on Law Day this year in May, I will be receiving the Liberty Bell Award. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that really is to an individual who really fights for justice for the mission that they serve. So uh, I guess what I can share with you is I really love helping and serving others in the community. And I think it has to come with good upbringing. My parents were just amazing. I'm the caboose of four kids, and my parents and my siblings will always tell me that I was the favorite. And that's just usually how it goes with the baby anyway, right? But I had to learn a lot, Matt, to be honest with you. And there were times, and I think maybe the listeners and yourself and even my colleagues can associate with, where people will pick at you, right? I was never an incredible public speaker, but throughout the years, I learned because of individuals that would be critical, right? So you learn from others' criticisms how to become a better person for whatever your journey is in life. So I don't hold grudges. Again, I look at it as you pointed something out. I'm glad they did because now I'm completely comfortable having conversations with individuals and knowing that the work that we do and the work that I do is authentic, and whether Jennie Hagerty is in a two-piece suit or whether she's wearing her Notre Dame hat and Notre Dame clothing, I am out there being who I am, and that's a servant, and I'm great with that. I've learned a lot through my family and how to become a good and strategic fundraiser. But more importantly, I was able to take my personality and put it together and it came to fruition. So where I started off maybe as someone's wife or someone's sister-in-law, now I am someone who's out there doing what needs to be done. And I developed my own personality. And I think that's what I'm most grateful for, is being humble, but also being happy and also being a fighter and an advocate because I don't mind stirring the pot when I'm fighting for something. And when I'm fighting for the families that we serve, I'm going to give it my all.
So well said. I appreciate you sharing that perspective as the baby of my family. I can also attest to that. You've got some good examples and people to look up to, as well as I think what I heard you say is that the years of charting your own path, finding your passion, and I love what you said about being open to constructive criticism, that feedback, being open to that, hey, accountability can be a good thing when it's, I want to raise myself, to a higher standard. And clearly, look at someone like yourself, uh, as you continue to evolve, as we all do, in becoming that next best version of ourselves. What I see happening with you is just that ripple effect that it's clearly having. Both it starts at home, but then clearly with the team that you lead, and in your case, the incredible impact that you're having in the community. So I appreciate you sharing that perspective. As we segue and maybe start to wrap things up here, what message would you have as a piggyback to what you just talked about, to say either leaders or emerging leaders and people then that look at someone like yourself, so well accomplished, well recognized, accolades, etc., whether words of inspiration or guidance in terms of what to what to be open to as you're growing, as you're kind of on this leadership journey.
So to leaders, I would simply share if you've held a position for a long time, it's time to move on, right? It's time to pass that baton to the emerging leaders, which I will be doing here in the next couple of years. I think when you are in a leadership role for far too many years, you become stagnant and comfortable, and fresh perspective is a blessing. And think of where you were years ago. Like I think about when I move on from Mercy Center, I'll be here upon retirement at least over 11 years, slightly over 11 years. I think of the accomplishments, the achievements, what we've been able to do together. But what excites me is now I'm in the process of mentoring my great team. And I want them to be their best because any strong leader knows this. You always want it to be better when you leave. You want it to survive. You want that vision to continue. You don't want anyone to fail. So by setting people up successfully, I think as leaders, that's what we're called upon to do. I also think that it doesn't hurt to cross aisles once in a while and be a little more bipartisan in our community because I think we could do a lot better. And again, we talked about criticism or what might I know that someone else doesn't know, and vice versa. That provides for stronger leadership and being a strong mentor and a strong woman, which I believe that I have become through great leaders in our community, right? I'm fortunate and I've had great women and men that have allowed me to become stronger in who I am today and that I've had taken some hard lessons from. So definitely grateful for all those opportunities.
Great perspective on the opportunity to pay it forward. And again, that position that you're in now to pour into others and mentor others, as yes, as we all have had along the way and probably can continue to have too. So I appreciate you sharing that. Before we go, Jenny, how can those listening, watching, how can they find you? How can they find Mercy Center for Women, online or otherwise, if they'd like to learn more or support?
So they can go directly to our website at www.mcwerie.org. Our phone number is 814-455-4577. My direct email is jhagerty, 1G, at mcwerie.org, or I'm all over the place. So I am always willing to take a meeting, have conversation. More importantly, if any of your listeners or viewers know of someone who is in a situation of difficulty, please reach out to us because we want to be able to help them in any way that we possibly can.
Wonderful. Jenny, again, I appreciate the time. Congratulations on the success you've had, the success that's yet to come, and another accolade that's coming your way soon. But also for the organization, just really as an Erie native, and obviously someone here in Northwest Pennsylvania that just sees the work and the impact of what your organization is doing, in addition to the collaboration like you talked about, just really appreciate the work that you're doing. Wish you continued success there. And again, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you so much, Matt. We appreciate the opportunity. We appreciate the presence today. Thank you.